Welcome to another episode here of the Public Speaking Experts podcast. And we are with you every single week. Every single Saturday, a new episode comes out. To do with this season is all about influence, to have more of it, how to use speaking to get it, how to really reach out there as a highly established entrepreneur or business owner, as a thought leader, as someone who's out there at the forefront of things. How do you utilize speaking for maximum influence, or how do you become a strong influencer? But I don't mean influencer in terms of social media, Instagram, and things like that. In your industry, how do you become that key person of influence? That's what we talk about this season. So, for some of you who still aren't in the loop, Jose has flown the nest and he is away. So, it is me leading the front line as the Public Speaking Experts podcast. And of course, we have guests, celebrities, and all kinds of interesting people as we go along through the season. So, make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, leave us a comment when you do. And if you leave us a comment and send us a lovely little photograph of it, of course, if it's nice, on the Public Speaking Expert Show on Instagram, we will send you a copy of my book, absolutely complimentary. So let's get going. And as this season is all about influence, I actually want to talk about perfection and how perfection can actually be detrimental when it comes to influence. And I've had many interesting conversations with experts when we come to talk about perfection, when we talked about the strive for perfection, the need for perfection. Now, while there's so many different answers you could have, I would like to share mine, to share my outtake on it. I'd like to share the challenges with it. And of course, is there anything you can do to overcome your perfectionism, whether it's a good or a bad thing? I remember last year on Clubhouse, we were there pretty much every single day doing shows, and I was talking to an agent, and he was talking about people who aspire to perfection and how actually that's not a bad thing. So we had a very interesting conversation because, in most cases, what I find is for a lot of people, it's actually quite a negative experience. Now, if perfection is something we aspire to and it motivates us and it drives us and it empowers us, then perfection is not a bad thing. But a lot of people aim for this elusive perfection that they're never going to achieve. Therefore, if it's not perfect, it can only mean it's imperfect. Therefore, that's a negative connotation. Therefore, they either stop doing things, they stop and start again, they judge themselves, they don't come from a place of compassion, and they beat themselves up because it's not perfect. The perfect design, the perfect talk, the perfect post, the perfect photo, the perfect delivery, the perfect joke. And because it's not perfect, if we're aspiring for perfection in a negative manner, then it's going to hinder progress, right? It's going to stop you from moving forwards, period. Because you're looking under that umbrella of it's just never going to be good enough. Now, again, if you use perfection in a way that inspires you, drives you, motivates you, unleashes those creative juices within you, and therefore it's a positive experience, then of course aiming for perfection is a good thing. Here's what I think. I think perfection doesn't exist. I think perfection is this elusive something that was put out there to drive and create high standards. And as a result, it's been used to beat ourselves up. I live in progress over perfection. I live in progress trumps perfection. And for me, that is far more important to live in the process, to live in progress, to aspire to absolutely high standards, to aspire to excellent, absolutely excellence. But perfection, the challenge is it will never, ever, ever be perfect, right? And because there's such a negative association for people with perfections, it creates a big problem. So if we look at it from a speaking point of view, right? We practice to hit the high standards so we can deliver, let's call it perfection. However, there's so many circumstances. If I show up in excellence and do my best every single time, if I'm always investing in myself and growing myself and looking to improvise, to improve every single time, then I'm moving forward. I'm growing. I'm going to another level. I'm going to another level. And of course, the more we grow, the less we know. Therefore, we need to keep growing, right? I'm moving forwards. But if something I've put in front of me is so unattainable, then any steps I take towards it will be futile, will be counterproductive because I'm never, ever going to get there, right? So progress trumps perfection. And living in progress is heading towards something greater. But if progress is actually inhibiting you, is stopping you, is depressing you, is creating anxiety, is stressing you, that's the problem with perfection. And I think there's so many great things we can achieve by aiming for high standards and excellence versus perfection that we need to give ourselves permission to get it wrong. We need to give ourselves permissions not to have the perfect thing, right? Now, of course, when you're getting paid 25 grand, 50 grand to speak, there is an expectation. But even then, no one really likes a perfectly delivered talk. People like that odd mistake, that thing that makes you human, that little bit of vulnerability. People like that. People want that. And that's the key. So to me, the problem with perfection is a lot of people create unattainable goals that they're never going to reach. And then they beat themselves up with it and they don't treat themselves with compassion, that actually it becomes an inhibitor. Aiming for high standards, aiming for excellence, aiming for continuous growth, that to me is far closer to perfection than anyone will ever achieve. To me, right? That that if we're always in that momentum, then we're definitely going to be moving forwards. And the thing is, if we are going to like coin perfection at anything, I would coin perfection to be the ability to admit when you're wrong, your ability to admit when you're right, and to take ownership over that. That to me is perfection. Period. Full stop. So that's the problem with perfection. So feel free to comment, to challenge, to give me your ideas or everything like that. Because what I want to actually see more and more people out there who want strive for influence, who are striving to make an impact, who are striving to own their industry and everything, business leaders, established business leaders, entrepreneurs, leadership. I want to see people go for it. Go for it, aim for excellence, aim for high standards, but not be inhibited by this false thought or this false notion that it needs to be perfect. Period. And that's the end of this chapter. So if you like this, feel free to reach out. If I can help you with your influence, with your speaking, if I can support you in any way to get out there, be seen, be heard, be more giraffe, reach out to me. Drop me a line. Let's have a conversation. All right. Leave a comment, follow, like, and subscribe the podcast because I've got a lot more of this where this came from. So till the next time, don't only be a great speaker, but speak your greatness. Till next time, people. Bye.